Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of Recipe Redemption. Now, today's visit to the market of mystery is a very special one. It's a long time in coming, and it's been a little frustrating. Why is it frustrating? Because I've already recorded this video. And then, because it's me, the footage disappeared into the ether. I don't know where. I don't exactly know when it disappeared, but when I went to edit it, it was gone. Fortunately, I've had this, well, a couple times now, so I know what to expect, and I don't really mind re-recording it. So, today's delicacy, little snack, I've had a hard time getting hold of it. Turns out that it just isn't sold very in very many places in the Seattle area. And there were just rumors, and I finally discovered that they might sell it at Ranch 99 in Edmonds, which is about 6 miles, about 15-minute drive for me. But for a while now, I had this mental block of, well, it's in another city, technically. So even though it's 6 miles away, I treated it like it was like I was hitching up a wagon and going on the Oregon Trail. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to go all that way. And, they might not have it, and it seems like such a waste. But finally getting past that sort of mental block and saying, you like exploring ethnic grocery stores. So just freaking go and look and see if they have it. And sure enough, they did. So, I've got myself a snack. It's an egg. It's an awfully big egg, but it's an egg. Oh, but it's so much more. You see, this egg, or rather, not this egg specifically, but this delicacy, hails from Southeast Asia, the Philippines specifically. Oh, you know what's coming. It's the thriller from Manila. It's the phenom from the Philippines. Yes, the treat with feet, eggs with legs. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you balut. For those of you who don't know what balut is, first of all, where have you been? This has become something of a social media phenomenon of posting pictures of balut. It's appeared on popular television shows like No Reservations with Anthony Bourdain and Bizarre Foods with Andrew Zimmern. And also, of course, Fear Factor. And why? Well, for those of you who don't know what balut is, and for those of you, even those of you who do, I want you to keep this in mind the entire video. It's just an egg. It's just an egg. Only more so. Here's the thing. Now, I want to clarify some things too. So, I have a balut here. I also have pidaan, which is century egg, 1,000-year-old egg, whatever. They're very different things, and some people do confuse the two. So here I have the pidaan, which is a preserved duck's egg. There's nothing really fast about peeling an egg, but in any case, it's a preserved duck egg. The duck egg, whole in shell, raw, is packed in alkali clay and allowed to sit for, I think, like a month and a half is the usual amount of time. And what happens is those minerals penetrate the shell, cause the egg white, and to a lesser extent the egg yolk, to actually denature and harden, but it also turns them black. And they're, I guess, in a way fermented, but not rotten. They are preserved. But they do have kind of a slightly ammoniac flavor and aroma to them. I've had them on the channel before. The yolk actually turns kind of a muddy gray as well. And there is a certain minerality to it too. Kind of an acquired taste, but it's fine. They're good. Now, I think I want this end. There's a bit of an art to opening a balut. Now, balut is also a duck egg. The difference is, well, it's about the same age. Maybe a little younger. But the difference is balut stayed underneath the mama duck. This was very much alive. You have to think about the practicalities in an age before refrigeration was invented. What's the best way of keeping meats, specifically, fresh for the longest? Keep it alive, right? While it's still going through its life cycle. It's not rotting on the bone or anything, right? It's healthy, it's whatever. So an egg will stay fresh if it's still alive, if it's still being incubated by the duck or hen or whatever, until you're ready to eat it. Only you have to remember, the older the egg gets, the closer the egg comes to becoming a duck. So at about between 15 days and about 21 days, give or take, is when they pluck these out from under the duck and stick them into a refrigerator, thereby killing them. So you are not actually hard boiling a living duck. That would be kind of horrific. But there is some development, and depending on how old the egg was before you stuck it into refrigeration and then subsequently boiled it, it may be at different stages of development. So, students, let's see what's inside this eggshell. Pop the top a little bit. Now, the reason that I'm popping it like this, opening it like, you know, the English would eat a soft-boiled egg, and this is not soft-boiled, by the way. Most of the online resources I've seen say to boil this for 20 minutes. That's a long time for an egg, but you have to remember, you're not specifically boiling an egg, you're boiling a duck. But as a result of boiling it for a long time, so a lot of the proteins will denature, it'll squeeze some of the liquid out, so there is actually liquid in the top of this shell. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in there. And the first thing you're supposed to do is drink the soup. And it really is. It does actually taste like a poultry soup, which is kind of interesting. So it is not, you know, it is not just an egg, even though it is an egg. But because it has started to develop into a duck, some of the flavor actually transforms into duck and not like just an egg white flavor. So I'm trying to be really careful here, and that's probably why I'm screwing this up. But hopefully in a moment you will be able to see this does not look like a normal boiled egg either. I probably didn't smack this enough. There we go, it's coming off. It's a little easier to peel than a typical boiled egg, but not by much. So one of the things to look out for is that oftentimes the one end of this egg will have proteins that are particularly tough when boiled, and they are not good eating. And this is here at the bottom. They kind of collect here at the bottom. And so this white portion down here at the bottom is not really that great to eat. It's kind of chewy. Now this one's pretty young. Okay, so you can see the vasculature of the developing duck fetus, but there's not a whole lot. There might be a little something, kind of organy, but there's still a lot of yolk, This one's actually a pretty young one. But I want to point out once again, this is an egg. So if you eat eggs, this should not be that shocking, really, when you think about it logically. It's only when you think of little fuzzy chicks that you think, oh God, I'm eating a little chick. You're not eating a chick, you're eating an egg. Salud. There's even a little bit of liquid yolk in the middle. And there's so much more flavor than just a plain old egg. It's much more complex. It's much closer to, like I said, like the flavor of a poultry soup. Yeah, this remaining egg white. I suppose it's edible, but it's really rubbery. I didn't get a whole lot of clues from my online research as to whether or not you're supposed to eat that. It's edible, and this one is actually softer than some. There are some that it's like chewing on a pink pearl eraser. This one's actually not that bad. Probably because, as I said, this seems to be a younger egg. So there are some, and let me crack the other one that I boiled up, just to see if I've gotten. While I peel this, let's talk about the history of the balut. There is some debate as to exactly how old this practice is. Some have suggested that this does resemble something that the Chinese did way back when, but it's not very popular in China. Here we go. Cheers. Soupy. This one might actually be a little bit more developed. So we get that treat. They do know that in the late 1600s, early 1700s, when European explorers first came to the Philippines, this was not widespread. It existed, but it wasn't widespread. Partially because, soupy. The actual practice of sort of factory farming, widespread, large production duck farms hadn't really happened in the Philippines yet. It was only after the Europeans came that they started doing that in the Philippines. So this didn't really take off until really about the middle of the 1800s. So no one's 100% sure if the Filipinos actually, if the Chinese brought this to the Philippines when they first colonized the area of the Philippine Peninsula, however many millennia ago, or if it was a more recent thing. No one really knows. But with the sort of diaspora of Philippine immigrants around the world to other Southeast Asian nations and to the United States and Canada and the rest of the world, that's where they brought this idea with them. And you can find it. I'm having a hard time peeling this. You can find it in other places now. But because of the fear factor, it's not the most common thing. Okay, again, this one's a little bit more developed than the last. There's more vasculature. It's unfortunate because the ones that I filmed in the lost footage actually had it was a little bit older by probably almost a week older than this. And it actually had a developing duck fetus on it. Still nothing crunchy, but the beginnings of feather. There was definitely a head with an eye. The shape of a beak, even though, like I said, there was nothing crunchy to it. So, but now that I peeled it, I might as well eat it. Eating a lot of eggs today. Keep my coat shiny. Mm. Mm. Soft, creamy, with a really rich sort of duck stock flavor to it. They're fantastic. And if you can get past the idea that you're eating a baby duckling, you're not. You're just think of it as eating an egg. That is, 4 times more flavorful than any regular egg you're going to get. Ooh, that went down the wrong pipe. These are actually fantastic. Mm. So go ahead. Have your own fear factor moment. Get a hold of a balut. Boil it for about 20 minutes. Let it cool. And enjoy. I highly encourage you to give it a try. Nothing wrong with it. And it is actually delicious. So, have you tried balut? Let me know in the comments below. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to try here on Recipe Redemption. So until next time, I'm Mike Uyak. Thanks for watching.